All right, and Sunday nights are family times, and on Newsline, there's always something for everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Newsline. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Rasak, and as Franco Lise would say many, many years ago, also on this program, it's the Sunday tonic for the family. And tonight, our camera crew crisscross the country to capture stories that defy human logic. Now, money and sex, they say, are major marriage breakers, but research has shown that this belief may become or is now a cliche. But what may not be a cliche, at least not as yet, is the word nomophobia. Now, this is a psychological condition many people are in, but yet to be diagnosed. I must confess, I only also just learnt of it. Now, remember the song Sweet Mother, sung by late Prince Nico Mbaga in celebration of motherhood. It was released in the 1970s and of course voted as Africa's most favorite song by the BBC. In fact, it became known as the African anthem. But if Prince Nico Mbaga were alive today, perhaps he would have released another song, this time entitled Where Are the Sweet Mothers of This World?, on account of recent happenings involving mothers. Now, which is your favorite work? Is it Country Walk or A Walk Down the Aisle? We also have a package on this, and as I said earlier, there's always something for everyone on Newsline. Before I unveil our package tonight, let's pause for a while to take the news segment. I'll be right back. And we begin the news with bilateral ties, and President Bola Tinubu and President Lula da Silva of Brazil have met in Addis Ababa with discussions and comprehensive strengthening of bilateral ties in all fields. President Tinubu emphasized the strength of Nigeria's economic and potential and influence, saying the country is witnessing a leap forward despite short-term reform pains as his administration is removing all encumbrances to business. The president further explains that his administration is investing in critical sectors of the economy like healthcare, education and agriculture to ensure the welfare of all Nigerian citizens and to create sustainable economic prosperity for future generations. He pointed out that Nigeria has a vibrant population of young Nigerians who are trainable, dependable and should be empowered. President Tinubu also reveals his administration's readiness to fight corruption and ready to invest in critical sectors such as healthcare, agriculture, education, infrastructure, as well as others. Assessing Nigeria's natural human resource wealth, President Lula da Silva said Africa's largest economy and South America's largest economy have a long and interesting history together. The Brazilian leader said Nigeria and Brazil once had a trade volume of more than $10 billion, which has now dropped to $1.6 billion, emphasizing that he is determined to strengthen bilateral relations. Now, the Brazilian leader promised to restore the good relations with Nigeria, as both countries, he says, need stronger relations in education, culture, development, agricultural, and industrial development. And Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has joined other African First Ladies to affirm that closing the gender gap is not an act of charity, but that of justice. In her maiden address delivered at the 28th General Assembly of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, she notes that the theme, Educate Her, Transform Africa, Enhancing Access to Health and Education for the 21st Century, African Women and Girls, is apt and addresses the very essence of the organization's joint mission for a thriving and progressive continent. The The First Lady says without education, girls lack skills to support themselves and access information to make informed choices about their health and future. She highlights embedded social norms such as early marriage and childbearing that restrict girls' life choices, but informs the gathering that the federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Education, was set to establish nationwide the Alternative High School for Girls, an initiative she envisioned while she was the First Lady of Lagos State. She also informed of government's efforts at reducing the prevalence of cervical cancer, as statistics show that a woman dies every 90 seconds from the disease. As part of efforts to promote the general well-being of the women folk, she says her office is working with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, who has introduced the human papilloma vaccine HPV into the national routine vaccination program to stem cases of cervical cancer, among others. Now, the globe stands the risk of having 14% of annual growth in the number of child marriages by 2030, going by UNICEF and UNFPA projections. And that's an alarming figure that has necessitated Nigeria to intensify efforts to address the child marriage burden through a national dialogue in Abuja. And our correspondent Chimdima Ndubisi reports that the Ministry of Women Affairs, in conjunction with its development partners and the traditional institution, are also driving conversations on this subject matter.
Nigeria is ranked third country in the world with high number of child marriages, according to the Ministry of Women Affairs and UNICEF's study. How does a child raise a child is one of the rhetorics that reverberated as state actors gathered to discuss measures for tackling the ills. The Minister of Women Affairs says words will be matched with actions this time around.
Our royal fathers should tell their people, look at the way it is now. If you do it, this is it, because it's part of violence against women. And there is a law to that effect, of which most states have signed.
The annual cost of $10 billion is the economic burden of child marriage to the nation.
Some traditional and religious practices are said to encourage this harmful act that has health consequences, especially vesicovaginal fistula in the girl child. So, traditional rulers, the likes of King Apollos Chu, the NTA bridge builder, passionate in advocacy for the right practices that foster national development, say royal fathers should rise to their responsibility in driving sensitization on ending child marriage in the grassroots.
Child marriage is happening in the community, so we called for the community to cry, assemble the member of the community, make sure that everybody will throw this enlightenment, this advice, this education they're giving to us, to them that the government is firm at it.
The consensus is that concerted efforts will reduce such practice by 2030. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
In other stories, Nigeria, with its abundant solar and wind resources, could leverage the existing relationship with Finland to tap from its expertise in sustainable energy solutions and green technology. Chairman Senate Committee on Navy, Senator Benga Daniel, said this at an event to celebrate decades of friendship between the two countries. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Nigeria is being rejigged and repositioned for greatness. Senator Benga Daniel said Nigeria stands to gain by working together with Finland as both countries share commitments to innovation, economic development and sustainable growth.
Finland's expertise in technology and innovation aligns well with Nigeria's ambition to develop a thriving tech industry. By fostering collaboration in fields of information technology, digital innovation and entrepreneurship, we can promote the exchange of knowledge and skills.
Ambassador of Finland to Nigeria, Lina Pilvenainen, says the two countries share a history of 60 years of friendship and cooperation, stressing that there is much experience and expertise to share in education, energy and digital solutions.
We work very well closely with the Federal Ministry of Education, and even closer, I would say, with many of your state governments, the ministries of education in various states.
The Executive Director, Nigerian Heart Foundation, Dr. Kingsley Akinruyi, was honored at the event with the title of Knight First Class of the Order of the Lion of Finland. Nami Ali, NTA News.
And before the end of the year 2024, Nigeria will commence operation of Unified Digital Public Infrastructure, DPI. Minister of Communications and Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, stated this at a Council of ICT meeting held in Abuja, Ogun State. Kemi Orunsolu Sikiru has more.
Leaders in the digital space in Nigeria run with the mandate of the federal government on digital economy towards making the country relevant in the Committee of Nations. Nigeria is pushing this agenda through the adoption of a unified digital public infrastructure. These, among other issues, were discussed at a council of ICT organized by the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy held in Abuja, Ogun State.
In serving people better, if we also use technology, it's easier for people to access all these government services. So you don't have to go and queue at a building to be able to access the service that a government wants to provide you.
For us to have a very clear focus vision where all data of the country can speak to the national identity system, we have to have such an exchange.
The meeting has as theme transforming public service in Nigeria, the role of technology workforce. In Abuja, Kemi Orunsolu Sikiru, NTA News.
And the federal government says it will support Osun State in reviving cocoa plantations. This is coming as the state governor, Ademola Adeleke, says the state is ready to participate in the federal government's food security program. Musa Baba Aliyu has a report.
Osun State is one of the top 3 cocoa producing states in Nigeria. However, most of the trees are aging, and there is the need to replace them with high-yielding and early maturing varieties. The state governor, Ademola Adeleke, says programs have been rolled out to revive the cash crop value chain. The governor is here at the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to seek partnership and support from the ministry.
And of course, I discussed about cocoa, because before the oil came, everybody had their own thing they do in different, section of the region then. So cocoa, we have revitalized cocoa, and that one is coming up. Livestock coming up and all that. So we have discussed, and the ministry has agreed, to help us. And of course, we will sign MOU to see how we can move forward.
Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, says the federal government has resolved to work with states in all aspects of agricultural production.
Osun State has expressed interest in the 3 crops, the rice, maize and cassava for the second phase, and we are going to support them 100%.
The state is also interested in the agro-processing zones project being implemented under the African Development Bank. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says President Tinubu is not overwhelmed by the current challenges facing the country and will not abdicate his responsibilities. Reacting to the statement by the PDP Governors Forum calling for resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the minister says President Tinubu will courageously continue to wrestle the challenges and surmount them through the durable foundation he's laying for the new Nigeria that is emerging. He says the PDP and its governors should not be seeking through the back door of intimidation what they have consistently failed to achieve by democratic means since 2015. Instead, he says, they should support the president's efforts at bringing economic relief to Nigerians. Mohammed Idris notes that the removal of the petrol subsidy, which was one of the main points of the PDP presidential candidate, has swelled the revenues of all states, including the PDP states, adding that the APC administration also cleared several liabilities left behind by the PDP government, which include subsidies claims by oil marketers, Paris Club reforms, unpaid pensions, gratuities, and salaries, among others. Hence, it's called to support and complement the hard work of the President and his administration and stop the criticisms. Now, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, says the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, in an attempt to rubbish the foreign exchange policy of the Tinubu administration, got his facts muddled up again and failed to prescribe a better policy option to what Governor Olayemi Cardoso and his team are executing at the Apex Bank. Bayo Ononuga says it was not true that President Tinubu's meeting last Thursday with the 36 state governors was centered on discussing foreign exchange crisis and currency fluctuation, explaining that what was discussed in the main was food supply and how to drastically reduce the food prices. He says, contrary to former VP Atiku's claim, Cardoso's CBN is implementing a raft of policies to stabilize the naira and end volatility in the market, and this is already yielding some positive results. It will be recalled that the Minister of Information, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, gave a briefing about the meeting, revealing highlights to State House correspondents. Now, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted the consignment of cannabis concealed in a loudspeaker imported from New York, United States of America. Now, the NDLEA intercepted the goods at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, in Lagos. Zenret Dingmom tells us more.
The items intercepted include 60 bags of psychoactive substances, loud, including about 33 kilograms and other illegal items. 3 suspects were arrested in connection to the crime. Similarly, NDLEA also arrested a female lawyer, her boyfriend, and her mother in connection to illicit business considered to be a family venture for a very long time, inherited by their late father. Various illegal substances were recovered from them, including cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, loud, cannabis, and precursor chemical. The operatives also intercepted an Uber driver known as Joshua Henry attempting to deliver a consignment of 26 kilograms of loud from Abuja to Kefi, Nasarawa State. Similarly, the agency also intercepted suspects at various locations of the country, including Kogi, Edo, Ondo, Kaduna, and Kano State, all in an effort to keep Nigeria safe against all forms of illegal trafficking and consumption, while calling on the general public to continue to give the agency maximum support. The chairman of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, applauded other security agencies for the enhanced synergy which led to this success. He added that the agency remains committed toward achieving its mandate. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
All right, and President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Mrs. Bolanle Ambode, former First Lady of Lagos State, as she clocks 60. The President celebrates the accomplished entrepreneur for her industry and enduring vocation of empowering women and youths with the necessary skills and means of becoming productive members of society. The President wishes her many more years in good health and strength as she hits the milestone age. All right, time to join Suleiman Musa on Sports Update.
Lobby Stars lost their position atop the Nigeria Premier Football League standings after a 2-1 away defeat to Plateau United in their Matchday 20 clash in Jos, with Remo Stars reclaiming the top spot after holding on for a vital goalless draw, despite playing with 10 men away to Abia Warriors. Enyuma Wagwa netted a hat-trick as Rivers United recorded a 3-2 home win over Doma United, with Sunshine Stars and Kwara United settling for a 1-0 draw. In other results, Kenneth Igboke's strike gave Enugu Rangers a slim 1-0 win against Akwa United. Bayelsa United got a 2-0 home win over Gombe United. Sporting Lagos beat Bendel Insurance 1-0 to make it back-to-back wins, while Katsina United beat Niger Tornadoes by the same margin. In England, Rasmus Højlund scored twice in the first 7 minutes as Manchester United overcame relegation-threatened Luton Town in the Premier League on Sunday. Sheffield United's defender Mason Aldgate's 13th minute red card proved costly as the Blades were hammered 5-0 by Brighton at Bramall Lane. In Spain, La Liga leaders Real Madrid stumbled to a frustrating 1-0 draw at neighbours Rayo Vallecano. Joselu fired the visitors in front early in the 3rd minute, but former Real Madrid youth player Raul de Tomas levelled for Rayo from the penalty spot as points were shared. And finally, Alexander Usyk's coach Sergio Lapin doubts Tyson Fury suffered a bad cut in sparring, branding the injury impossible. Fury and Usyk were due to clash this weekend to crown the first undisputed heavyweight world champion since Leonidas Lewis in 1999. But the Brit pulled out 2 weeks ago after suffering a bad cut above his eye, forcing the fight to be rescheduled for May the 18th, and Lapin is not convinced Fury's injury is legitimate. With Sports Update, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
And the death has occurred of former Executive Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority, Dr. Madu Gaga Lafia. He died this Sunday in Maiduguri after a brief illness. Correspondent Majama Adamu reports.
A veteran broadcaster and an academic, Dr. Madu Lafia died in Maiduguri after a brief illness. He was 83 years old. He had an eventful working career as a radio reporter with Radio Nigeria Kaduna, where he worked for 9 years from 1963, and later as lecturer with Ahmadu Bello University Zaria from 1972 to 1977. From 1977, Dr. Madu Lafia joined the service of the Nigerian Television Authority and became manager of news and current affairs in NTA Kano. And in 1979, became the general manager NTA Maiduguri until 1990, when he was transferred to NTA headquarters Abuja, where he retired as executive director of news in 1999. Some former staff of the NTA that worked with him remember him this way.
We worked under him for more than a decade, and throughout that period, we found him to be a very, very good administrator, a disciplinarian, and somebody that has interests of Borno at heart.
Within that period, he was general manager. Every staff liked. Everybody enjoyed working with him. Being a newsman and a good administrator himself, he was able to relate with everybody.
For me, Dr. Lafia was not only my general manager, he was like a brother and uncle to most of us. He saw us through as young people, and eventually we rose to prominent positions in the broadcast industry.
Let Dr. Modu Gargami Lafia is a mentor to many of us. He has mentored us in this profession, and now he is no more. So we prayed Almighty Allah to repose his soul.
Late Dr. Modu Lafia is survived by 3 children. Burial arrangements are yet to be announced by the family. In Maiduguri, Majama Adamu, NTA News.
Hello, my bro. And that's the news segment on Newsline tonight. We thank you for watching. Don't go away. Newsline will return in just a moment. All right, welcome back to Newsline. If you've just joined us, you're right on time. I was just going through the scripts to make sure that everything is all right. And it's always good to start on a positive note. So we'll begin with love. February, maybe the shortest month of the year, but it is also known as the month of love. But this year, it also has another concept of love, the Ash Wednesday, also in February. So bringing the two, concepts of love together. So how did the lovebirds fly? Let's find out from our correspondent.
Valentine's Day means different things to different people.
While some say it's about celebrating their romantic partners, others say it's about showing love to all, regardless of who they are, like the agape love. Then, there are those who do not believe in the concept at all.
I do celebrate Valentine's Day, like with my loved ones, my family, my friends, in the office, friends around where I stay too as well. I celebrate with them.
I celebrate every day. It's not necessarily on February 14th.
I don't celebrate because I don't have time for that for now.
For me, it doesn't worth it. I don't celebrate Valentine. Yes, because there's no reason.
Valentine's Day celebration has been in existence for decades. First, in honor of the Christian martyr named Saint Valentine. Later, as time went on, it metamorphosed and soon became a celebration of romance, passion, and love, with even a color code.
It's love. Someone died because of love, and that, at that point it's being recognized that this is the purpose of it. He died because of love. And what kind of love did he die for? People didn't see it. Showing love should be continuous thing. It shouldn't have a specific day for it.
As this year's Valentine's Day clashed with Ash Wednesday, a Christian solemn event, some individuals decided to focus on holy love to one another. For others, however, the thought of Valentine's Day without romantic affection was a no-no. Meanwhile, some simply commemorated both.
In the spelling of Valentine, at the middle is Lent. So today is just like God trying to tell us that love and everything is one. Every day is love. So I'm celebrating Valentine, yes.
Well, I'm focusing on the vow presently now.
In whatever way it is celebrated, Valentine's Day celebration can never be the same for every generation. Generation X, Generation Millennial, and Generation Z certainly flow on different levels.
Loving Day is very important. It doesn't disturb the Valentine. Person must happy. That's one thing on me. So me too, I'm just coming from work. So I want to dress up to go and enjoy myself for Valentine.
In this season of love, whether it is towards a romantic partner, family, an acquaintance, or a stranger, it is important to remember that every day is an opportunity to show love.
I hear my colleagues say, no be person will get money, they love. But that's the common mentality. But the truth is that we are all enjoined to love one another, and there is no date or month or timeline ascribed to it. I want to take you to a kingdom in Kebbi State, which opened its doors to the world, to the outside world, and the pictures coming out from there are some of the best the country has seen. Now, they are pictures of epic water tradition, exotic agriculture, and heritage that is not just beautiful, but also different. And trust Hami Sirogo, he was there to witness 3 days of showbiz.
If the Emir of Yawuri in Kebbi State will have his way, his kingdom will be the ultimate tourism destination in Nigeria. It is not there yet, but it is not for lack of will or absence of potentials. The people of Yawuri generally live with unshakable belief that they have compelling products that the world cannot fail to be interested. It is in the agriculture they do and in the cultural heritage they have. They are a riverine community whose centuries of water tradition allows for extensive and exotic agriculture. Even so, all the air traffic along River Niger also engenders multicultural relationships through commerce, marriages, and fishing. The alluvial land area and the larger areas also produce with integrity and class not seen anywhere in the north. The people of Yawuri Emirate are also multi-ethnic, spread across 3 local government areas of Yawuri, Ngaski and Shanga. These entities and their ecosystems are some of the most beautiful, productive, and culturally sophisticated of any community in Nigeria. This, in part, is one of the driving forces that propelled their Emir, Muhammad Zayyano Abdullahi, to hold the world every year to the display of their rare endowment. One of the major features of the Yawuri Cultural Festival is its agricultural show. This is not the kind of agricultural show you know. For instance, everything Yauri cultivates is at bumper level and at varieties of 3 or 4 or 5. For instance, it produces 5 varieties of sorghum and 5 varieties of soya beans. Many crop that the northern ecosystem does not support, it is cultivated with integrity in Yauri.
Yeah, look, Professor,
But then just take a look.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I cannot even raise it. But
this
please,
is a typical cassava tuber.
But whoever can think that
Yauri Emirate.
Whoever can think that Yauri can produce tubers of cassava
like this. You know, if we just take cassava now, you know, cassava is being processed not just for gari, but for starch and ethanol.
Yes.
Now the demand for cassava globally has increased by about 70%. And now we have to make these people realize that they are sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
But they are not aware.
There are over 50 crop types locally produced in this agric show.
One will be convinced that there's no reason for hunger in this country. We have all what it takes to feed our people. If you see variety of products that is being produced here, it's not about feeding ourselves. We have to export for foreign exchange earnings.
The agricultural show also includes livestock display, some of which are endemic to Yauri and therefore different. The extreme north does not have species of dwarf goats or much of a crossbreed of donkeys. The livestock gallery is indeed a pleasant content of this festival. The ultimate livestock present, however, was a live hippopotamus brought on the day of the water games and donated to Kebbi State Governor by the host emir, Muhammad Zayano Abdullahi.
All right, vintage Rogo. Did you see that giant tuber of cassava? Even Rogo couldn't lift them. All right, let me move away now. And now, traditionally, military officers are only known for the protection of the country's territorial integrity and ensuring peace and security. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Surajo Imam has broken this jinx as he recently made history by becoming a professor of mechanical engineering at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. Now, with this feat, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Surajo has become the first professor among 7 personnel in the history of the Nigerian Army. Suleiman Kodogi was at the reception held in his honor by the state government, family members, and close associates in Katsina. For Newsline.
Nigerian Defense Academy recently conferred the title of a professor on Abubakar Surajo Imam, a lieutenant colonel and the head of Department of Mechatronics Engineering at the institution. For many Nigerians, it came as a surprise, but for Professor Abubakar Surajo Imam, an army officer and an indigene of Kankia in Katsina State, it is a dream come. Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Surajo Imam joined the Nigerian Army as a member of Short Service Combatant Corps 32 and was assigned to the Nigerian Army Corps of Electrical and Mechanical Engineering, a later converted to regular commission, and served in numerous units of the Nigerian Army. Presently, he is an examiner and member Central Selection Committee for Masters and PhD candidates sponsored by the Petroleum Technology Development Fund. The recognition does not only honor Professor Abubakar Surajo, but highlights the commitment of the Nigerian Defense Academy to acknowledge and reward outstanding performers within its academic community.
He is a humble person that is always ready to learn, with a lot of entrepreneurial skill.
On his part, Katsina State Governor Diko Umar Rada, Professor Abubakar Imam, has done the state and indeed the country proud.
We are behind you, we support you, and we give you all the necessary cooperation to succeed in your life.
For many, this great and historic achievement can better be imagined.
As a military personnel, and become a professor at some time, it is something very commendable, something that we all have to rally around him.
It was not easy, really, but alhamdulillah.
Professor Abubakar Surajo Imam has attended more than 40 international workshops, numerous seminars, and presented papers at several conferences in the United Kingdom, Spain, Egypt, and the United States of America.
Seeing how other people get to where they are and believing that it's something that you can achieve, following through, mentoring of people that have gotten there, and then through that you work toward achieving that, pray and being determined, passionate about what you do.
During his tour of duty in NTA, Professor Imam and his team utilized the platform to design and develop numerous military and civil solutions, especially the mechatronics and robotics system.
All right, this is Newsline, and we thank you for always staying with us. Let's take a first break now. We'll be right back in just a moment. And you're watching Newsline on the network service. Now, the recent visit to Kano by Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, holds beautiful memories that will linger on for some time to come. Now, not just for the people of Kano, but also for Mariam Abacha American University academic community. In the first instance, it was considered a homecoming for the First Lady, who spent 1 year serving her fatherland for more than 4 decades ago. The highlight of the event was the honor bestowed on the First Lady by the Mariam Abacha American University of Nigeria. And our correspondent Abdullahi Mustafa, in the, of course, the incoming report, captures the beautiful moments.
It was initially planned to be a normal working visit that may not exceed 2 hours. However, from the airport reception, it turned out to be more than just that. A warm reception and a rousing welcome for Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibril, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and cabinet members, FCT Minister of State Maria Mahmood, former Women Affairs Minister Pauline Tallen, and wives of 17 state governors all joined to make it more colorful. Along the streets and on arrival at the Mariam Abacha American University of Nigeria, at the instance of which she came to Kano, were cheerful residents. Awaiting her blessings and official inauguration is a mighty edifice housing departments that train future professionals in dealing with the customs, practices and rules of the conduct of a state, the Oluremi Tinubu School of Law building. Not only naming the beautiful edifice after her, the First Lady is also happy that the founder is keen in making positive contributions to the development of education in Nigeria.
Once again, I express my gratitude for this honor, and I look forward to witnessing the continued growth and success of this great institution. May we all continue to be champions of education, good governance, and positive change in Nigeria.
She announced a 50 million naira endowment for best law graduating students as part of her contribution to the promotion of academic excellence. Beyond rhetoric, Acting Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Chris Meyaki, noted the Mariam Abacha American University of Nigeria is a world-class citadel of learning in view of its high standards in infrastructure, facilities, and academic manpower.
Professor Gwarzo is one of the few successful and now a serial entrepreneur in Nigeria who have dedicated their time and resources to the development of the university enterprise.
Founder and president of the Maun Group of Universities, Professor Adamu Abubakar Gwarzo, thanked the First Lady for being part of history of the institution, assuring of continued commitment to providing affordable and conducive learning atmosphere in the institution. Apart from dignitaries who received her at the airport, Senator Remi Tinubu was also joined by former First Lady Mariam Abacha and Governor of Benue State Hyacinth Alia. A day at the Mariam Abacha American University of Nigeria by the First Lady is for the university community a moment so special.
Interesting. Now, the expansive city of Maiduguri was agog this Sunday when gorgeously dressed horsemen took to the stage in a very colorful Durbar ceremony. Now, the herdsmen were led by the Shehu Obono, Abubakar Ibn Umar Alamin, Gabai El Kanemi, the leader of the Kanuri clan. Mohammed Goni reports that the Durbar was a spectacular in every respect and was also part of events marking the International Kanem Borno Cultural Summit.
The Kanem Borno Cultural Summit brought together delegates from various states within Nigeria and from countries within the Lake Chad region and beyond that include Chad, Niger, Cameroon, Benin Republic, depicting the historical ties that bound them to the famous Kanem Borno Empire in spite of the artificial boundaries created by colonialists. The Grand Durbar procession was led by the contingent of the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar ibn Umar Garba El Kanemi, followed by that of the Waziri of Borno, Mutawalli Shatima Abubakar, as well as 13 out of the 59 district heads of Borno Emirate, taking turns to display horsemanship and dancing to the rhythm of the royal bands to the admiration of the dignitaries, visitors and guests across the globe. In 1963, when Nigeria attained the status of a republic, Borno's Durbar contingent, led by Shehu Umar ibn Garba Al Kanemi, father to the present Shehu of Borno, was declared the best at a procession held in Kaduna, capital of the defunct northern region. While ancient Kanem Borno Empire, which form part of the present northeastern states of Borno and Yobe, are known and respected for its unique tradition of horsemanship and prowess, this Durbar can be said to be different because it has attracted Kanuris from all over the world. Some dignitaries who attended the Durbar procession could not hide their feeling on the epoch-making events.
We are exhibiting our culture and at the same time Borno's home of peace, and that's a sign that peace has returned to Borno, and we thank God Almighty for everything.
mun gode a baranzu show barnoma ade fule tana jaman so zaura kalele da bai da sara hana da jaman so sorona da en samno kanuri ya dina samma so kalalan baranze da ba da shirya hano da yawa baranzu ro gultiye ba da yawa jama'a madenna ande ya jaye manya na sawo son a wajiriya da yare kalakti na zauro rayena.
All right, now, one of the most inspiring quotes I have ever heard about soldiers is, and I quote, "Born to fight, trained to kill, prepared to die, never will, keep low, move fast, kill first, die last, one shot, one kill, no luck, pure skill." Those are really attributes we identify with a soldier whenever we see them, especially those of them in the front line of battle. We see them as very serious people. But the truth is that soldiers also do have a soft side to them, and most especially a very good sense of humor that make you almost forget the soldiers in them when you say them. Our next story from my Malari cantonment in Maiduguri validates the adage, which of course we all know, that no work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Here is Zainab Adam with the report that the 2023 annual West African Social Activities, known as WASA, was an uproar of merriment.
Security is said to be everybody's business, requiring both military, paramilitary, and civilians' involvement. This collaboration cannot be possible without a viable platform for interaction from time to time. As such, the Nigerian Army age-long tradition of West Africa social activities, WASA, initiated by the colonial masters, is sustained by the Nigerian Army to foster unity and showcase Nigeria's rich cultural heritage that binds its people wherever they live.
The success and relative peace we celebrate today is therefore a testimony to the commitment, dedication, and professionalism of all troops.
I would like to thank the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for his strategic guidance to the Nigerian Army and indeed the theater of operation. My appreciation goes to our host, a visionary leader with genuine passion in the person of the Executive Governor of Borno State.
In Borno and the two neighboring states where we have insurgency, the Nigerian military has played its role very well, is still doing so, and therefore what I will say on behalf of His Excellency first is to appreciate the Commander-in-Chief.
Series of cultural performance, comedy among others featured.
Coming from where I am, the military has been very key in the protection of civilians. I would use this opportunity to call on them to step up.
We are here to celebrate with them, and we wish them all the best in their operations.
A tug of war between female soldiers and officers' wives attested to the fact that while the troops are protecting lives and property as well as territorial integrity of the nation, their wives replicate same capacity at the home front. The governor, Professor Babagana Omar Azlim, represented by the secretary to the state government, Bukar Tijani, lighted the bonfire to signify a new era as Wasa marks the end of all activities in 2023, ushering in 2024. The governor affirmed that the armed forces are not just defenders of borders, but ambassadors of peace and symbols of hope in the face of adversity. Hence, pledged commitment to supporting them at all times.
Of course, soldiers are human beings also, and no work and no play always make Jack or Tom or whoever a dull person. Now, let's turn to the English dictionary for the meaning of this word, turban. And it says, a long piece of cloth worn around the head, usually by Hindu or Muslim men. But within the Nigerian context, turbaning expresses a social-cultural reality. It's a kind of ceremony, one of our rich cultural heritage that will never go out of fashion. Kaleidoscope of colors, stunts, dance by monkeys and hyena are all exciting features of a turbaning ceremony and rooted in our culture, identity, and heritage. Here is correspondent Muazu Hassan, who witnessed the turbaning ceremony of Aldo Sude Katagum, former Bauchi State Deputy Governor, as the 9th Waziri of the Katagum Emirate in Bauchi State.
Like the 12-gun salute of respect in the military system, these 12 beating of the large cattle drum known as tambari in Hausa is an official affirmation of Audu Sule Katagum as the 9th Waziri in Katagum. After the official turbaning by the 12th Emir of Katagum, Umar Farouk, the 9th Waziri of Katagum ride his horse in a mini daba to his residence. Of the occasion draw in dignitaries and personalities such as Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Maitama Tuga and Chief of Staff in the Office of the Secretary to the Federal Government.
It's a man I've known since his youth. We were in capital school together and grew up as childhood friends. So I know the choice by His Royal Highness to make him Waziri is a very, very good choice.
I am here to represent His Excellency, and he asked me to express his appreciation to the Emir and his congratulations to the Waziri of Katagum, who happens to be a close confidant and close associate of him. As a former deputy governor, it is our humble belief he will represent the Emirate very well wherever he goes.
Is for me to assure the Emir of Katagum, as well as the good people of Katagum Emirate, that whatever that is expected of a Waziri, I am assuring them that Waziri Abdu Sule Katagum will fulfill all that.
There was a colorful dinner for the guests in appreciation for their best wishes and support by the 9th Waziri of Katagum.
And you can see from the number of people who are here from all over the country, it is a well accepted appointment, and I hope and I pray that I'll have the strength and the wherewithal to carry out this responsibility. So I thank everybody.
Waziri of Katagum Emirate is the chairman of the kingmakers and the emir's advisor on any of the key traditional titles. It is said that a man's true beauty lies on the turban, which is a crowned honor. We are now wishing the new Waziri of Katagum more blessed years of wisdom.
All right, time to take you to Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. And it was a gathering of prominent indigents of the state as the Emir of Ilorin, who's also the chairman of the Kwara State Council of Chiefs, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, hosted Council of Ulamas, traditional chiefs in the Ilorin Emirate, family members, friends and well-wishers of Commissioner of Police Moshood Olorundare Jimo at a special prayer session organized in his honor by the Emir. Now, the special prayer session was to seek Allah's protection and grant the former Force PRO Police Headquarters, Abuja, who was recently elevated to the rank of Commissioner of Police, wisdom to carry out his new assignment successfully. Ahmad Fulani captured the prayer session for Newsline.
The Chief Imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir Soli, leading others in his special prayer session. The Chief Imam and others invoked Allah for his protection on CP Moshood Jima and prayed Allah to bless him with leadership qualities to make him excel in his career. CP Moshood is aware of the enormous task ahead of him. He is determined to carry out his new assignment in line with the mandate of the Nigerian police and that of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun.
This will spur me to be able to do more for my community because there's no doubt I'm a son of the soil of Ilorin Emirate and integral part, so and I'll contribute my quota within my reach to be able to uplift the community. My advice to Nigeria is for all Nigerians to join and to support the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun. Without the support of the people, the police may not be able to do more.
Let us give our children formal education because education is necessary for our children to be successful in life.
High point of the prayer session was a royal blessing and prayer for CP Moshood Jima by the Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari.
CP Moshood Jima has been a very hard-working, seasoned police officer right from day one. He worked directly with me those days when I was in Anambra to continue to work very hard, to continue to be very prayerful, to continue to be very humble as he is being. A very courageous person, somebody who knows the job, highly professional.
Until his new appointment, CP Moshood Jima joined the services of the Nigerian police in May 2000 and started as a cadet ASP in training attachment, Sabongeri, Katsina State. He was FCT Police Public Relations Officer, Deputy Commissioner of Police CIID Airport Lagos Command, Deputy Commissioner of Police General Investigation Force Criminal Investigation Department Annex, Gombe State.
Congratulations to the newest Commissioner of Police, CP Moshood Olorundare Jimo. And let's go for another commercial break. Newsline returns presently. Welcome back to Newsline. If you've just joined us, you're right on time. Have you ever heard of the word horsemen? You probably have, but don't realize them. But just a minute. It is generally believed that money and sex are major marriage destroyers. But research has shown that in modern environment, that may have become a cliche. And I'm going to quote a psychologist and researcher, John Gottman, who identified what he calls harbingers of or marriage destroyers, and he names them as the 4 horsemen. And these include unhealthy dynamics, hurtful behaviors, and poor priorities. So, which of these dynamics played out in our next story? Let's find out from our correspondent, Mukhtar Wowo, who's been investigating a recent incident involving a woman who killed her husband just 2 weeks after marriage in Niger State.
The deceased young husband, Abdul Qadir Ahmad, and his suspected wife, Aisha Aliyu, were said to have been together right from their primary school days, resulting in a relationship which metamorphosed into marriage.
After she introduced the deceased to us as her intended husband, we asked her severally if she loved him, and she answered in the affirmative. We would not have agreed to that marriage if they didn't love each other.
The testimonies by the parents of the couple corroborate the video clips of their wedding. 5 weeks into the marriage, love turned sour and ended in tragedy when the wife allegedly stabbed the husband to death.
They used to have disagreements at night when it was time to get intimate. On that fateful day around 1 a.m., I heard him screaming. Before we rushed him to the hospital, he died. She ran away after the incident. We have searched for her everywhere, but have still not found her.
While the parents of the alleged killer wife search for her whereabouts, parents and relatives of the deceased young husband mourn him. The village head of the community, Abdullahi Gimba, says his agrarian people had no record of such incidents and other forms of violence.
The Nasarawa is peace anytime.
Uncle to the suspect wife, while offering me a wife in the community, prayed for our safe return to Mina, the Niger State capital. Meanwhile, the State Police Command confirms the incident.
We are doing what we could. We are intervening both families, the family of the deceased, the family of the suspect, towards arresting the suspects. And they are cooperating, they are assisting. The police effort is ongoing on to get her arrested. And the family are also assisting the police in our investigation to know what the problem was, what has been happening within the family, what could have made her to stab her husband.
The PPRO ordered that if apprehended, she would be investigated and prosecuted.
Quite unfortunate. We also turn attention now to Dotse, the capital of Jigawa State, which has for some time now enjoyed the status of being one of the most peaceful cities in Nigeria. NTA correspondent Mohammed Musa Askira reports that unfortunately recent happenings in that town may affect this narrative, as the State Police Command confirms a case of culpable homicide of a renowned food vendor known as Esther Adekonla.
The incidents came to limelight when neighbors noticed the disappearance of the deceased Hadiza Nakowa early this week and reported to the police as all her cell phone lines are not reachable. The police public relations officer ASP Shisu Lawan Adam said investigation is ongoing, assuring that the perpetrators will be brought to book.
So when we get the information, we rushed to her house, and we found that the house was locked. So we forced the door to open. When we entered the house, we seen her laying down in full of her blood, with a deep cut in her heads and necks. So we take the corpse and the injured girl to hospital. Then she is responding to the treatment, but the corpse was transferred to Amin Connotation Hospital for autopsy.
A visit to the house of the deceased shows families and associates in mourning mood, receiving sympathizers over the unfortunate death.
God gives and God takes. But based on what we saw, it was an assassination, which is barbaric and is very terrible.
The deceased Hadiza Nakowa, who was a proud owner of a popular restaurant in Dutse, was described as peace-loving and friendly person in Dutse, the capital of Jigawa State.
All right, let's turn attention now to Yando Tundaji in Emirate in Safi local government area of Zamfara State, where another unfortunate incident occurred. We hear a 65-year-old man was allegedly murdered by the recently inaugurated state community protection guards in the area. Although the state government says it will thoroughly investigate the matter, the family and close associates of the deceased are calling out for justice. Jamilu Ibrahim tells us more.
A tragic situation indeed for the family and close associates of a 65-year-old farmer Magaji Lawali of Endo Todaji community in Safe local government area of Zamfara State, who was allegedly tortured to death by the recently inaugurated state community protection guards. Late Magaji was said to have been invited by the Safe local government office of the guards over an allegation. Eldest son of the deceased said his father was detained at the guards' custody for many hours and only for the family members to pick his corpse at the mortuary of the Safe General Hospital the following day.
I went to the mortuary along with my uncle, where we found the corpse of my father with blood stains all over his body and on the pillow.
The unfortunate incident has obviously thrown the Endo Tundaji community into a state of mourning.
We are glaringly in a tragic situation as we lost one of our beloved elders. We, however, take solace in the fact that nobody will live beyond his appointed time.
A close associate of the deceased and former National Assembly member who represented Zamfara Central Senatorial District, Senator Kabiru Garba Marafa, calls for a thorough investigation in the matter for appropriate action.
So what happened in Safi, I believe, would be an eye-opener to the government, to now reappraise the situation. Who are the people they employed? Did they go through the necessary checks that they were supposed to go through?
Meanwhile, Zamfara state government has condemned what it described as a clash between the community protection guards and members of the Atulot Vigilante and Sake in Safe local government area, which led to the days of the Magaji Lawali. A statement issued by Zamfara State Commissioner of Information and Culture Mandir Ma'azu Haidara says a committee has been set up by the state government to investigate the matter, and anyone found culpable will face the full wrath of the law. The deceased, who is survived by 4 wives and 23 children, has since been buried in accordance with Islamic rites after an autopsy.
Remember the female lawyer Adachukwu Okafo, who inflicted injuries on her 11-year-old house help in Anambra State and presented herself to the police after being declared wanted by the Minister of Women Affairs. Well, we hear she will appear in court this week. Meanwhile, it is a moment of joy for the victim, Happiness Nwafo, who has been discharged and released to her mother. Chinyere Fasiokoye has the update.
Wow, you people did wonderful job.
See the side though.
I am so happy, though still not too happy because of what I learned, But I know that God, being a little girl, I'm not into medical line, but I pray that God should help her in future because of the things the woman did to her.
That was the situation at the Enugu General Hospital in Anambra State when the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Ife Obinaba, and her team paid on-the-spot visit to ascertain the current state of Happiness, who the medical team say is set to be discharged.
I feel happy. I thank the Commissioner for their support and care.
I'm very happy, very glad. I thank the Commissioner. We make my pickings still alive today. I give government everything to take care of the woman.
Though her physical wounds have healed, Anambra State government says the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare will keep a tab on Happiness based on her medical reports to ensure she does not live her entire life in trauma, fear, and agony. Meanwhile, Adachukwu Okafo, who inflicted the injury that led to the admission of the little Happiness in the hospital, has finally submitted herself to the police after being on the run for more than 2 weeks.
She turned herself in. A bounty was placed on her, 2 million. So being a smart woman, she came to the place with a little child. They called me and told me that we should prepare our documents for prosecution. So at this point, we are trying to gather everything together so that we will proceed. By next week, unfailingly, prosecution will take place.
Going by the story of the biological mother of Happiness, who has no legal husband, no meaningful source of income, and has 3 other kids, the commissioner warned women to live careful life and bear the number of children they can cater for.
We must appreciate the Anambra State government, especially the Office of the Commissioner for Women Affairs, and we look forward to justice being served. Now, when a suckling baby looks into its mother's eyes, it finds pure love that cannot be replaced. Now, that's why a mother is described as someone who can take the place of others, but whose place cannot be replaced. Now, this next report questions that act of motherly love. Last week, we brought you a story about a woman who was caught trying to sell 2 of her teenage sons. Now, 23-year-old suspect, Blessing Obiagbaso, was also arrested for allegedly selling her 1-week-old baby. One then wonders, where has motherly love gone to? Again, we join Chair Fesiokoye for this report.
The arrest of this alleged 23-year-old suspected child seller, who says she works in a hotel at Nnewi, followed a tip-off from a whistleblower.
That fateful day, a particular number whistleblower started calling me, calling, then said, pick your call. Then I picked and I returned the call. The person said that he was a whistleblower, that he was calling from Nnewi, that there's a particular girl that is into the business of giving birth and selling, that she has sold 2 and gave birth to this particular one.
The suspect, however, denied selling her children, while the first 2 she also had out of wedlock are staying with her boyfriend, who she claimed impregnated her. I had this baby on January 8th at Nnewi and gave him to my friend to help me take care of him, as my boss in the hotel would not allow me to bring him the baby. So, when rumor was making the rounds that I sold my baby, I called the woman and she brought back my baby to me before I was arrested. When asked about her parents, she said, I and my parents have not been in good terms for a long time. My mother said she has disowned me, so they're not even aware of this my last pregnancy, but for the other 2. For now, the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare has taken custody of the little baby while investigation continues. Meanwhile, different strokes for different folks. While this 23-year-old girl is not appreciative of God's gift of the children to her, this 47-year-old childless woman has been scammed in her struggle to conceive and get her own child. What a world.
Since May 2022, I was paid to pay 1.5 million, but at the end of the day, the man said I have to add more money, so I had to add 450,000. Because of this journey, I lost my job. He told me that as a doctor, he's advising me to go for planting, so I had to follow his.
You know he's not a medical doctor.
I'm not aware, ma. It was when they brought me here I came to know. I'm not aware, to be sincere, ma.
If you want to adopt a child that you're looking for the fruit of the womb, that's okay. Go to any Ministry of Women Affairs in your state, okay? Then seek for that. Write application, then start the process.
I have nobody to talk for me, ma, please. Let God use you to help me to go and carry my things.
Remember, I said at the beginning of this program that if Prince Nico Mbaga were alive today, the title of his song would probably be, Where Are the Sweet Mothers? Let's take another break. Newsline will return in just a moment. And we have just enough time to say thank you for watching Newsline tonight. And on behalf of the Newsline crew and myself, I leave you with these positive words. Go out this week and be fruitful. Good night.